Good afternoon, Mr. Scheer. My name is Brian McKenna, and I've lived in the community of Delta or Surrey on and off for the last 20 years. One of the things I wanted to ask you, I want to hear from you about, is as veterans, often we have two main roles in the community. One is to advocate for our wounded brothers and sisters, to try and make sure that they get the benefits and care that they deserve, that we feel they deserve. I would have to say that on what was promised to the veteran community in 2015 has not happened. And I don't mean that it hasn't happened by a couple percent. I mean it drastically has not happened. What was promised to the veteran community and what is delivered is about 65% less. But as a conservative member, one thing I really want to hear you speak about, I'm proud of my service, happy to do it. I don't need to be thanked. What I do want to know though, I went on a peacekeeping tour in a vehicle that was 30 years old. I've been to war in body armor where I could not turn my head because it was not designed to fit with the other equipment that we had. I have friends serving today where some of them have had to turn in their sleeping bags so that we can equip those going out the door with sleeping bags. I've sat in the passenger vehicle or the passenger side of a vehicle with two bungee cords and using them to pull back and forth the windshield wiper because we didn't have a windshield wiper that was working in the vehicle. I could go on, but you get my point. So benefits are one thing that has been completely missed. What will you do to make sure that when we send the next soldier, sailor, or air person out the door, they have survivable equipment and keep them alive?
I know you don't need to be thanked and not looking for thanks, but I hope you don't mind that I do thank you for your service. You've highlighted an area on two aspects of that area. One is the benefits and the promises that are made to veterans after they serve, the expectation that the government will be there to deliver on what was promised when the men and women enlisted in the first place. And that's something that I will acknowledge that we do need to get right. We had, towards the end of the previous Conservative Parliament, our former Veterans Minister, Aaron O'Toole, had reset the relationship with our veterans and was on the cusp of having an agreement with groups that represented veterans for things like pensions and medical benefits after their service. The Liberals campaigned on a very specific promise during the election, and that was that veterans would never have to go to court to get what they were promised. And now we see that they're right back in court defending, the Liberals are defending shortchanging our veterans. Even to the point where the Prime Minister looked a war hero in the eye and told him that he was asking for more than the government could give, which I felt just a shame to see that exchange with the Prime Minister. So our plan will be to ensure that when something is promised, when a man or woman signs up to serve and put their life on the line, that they get everything that they were promised on that day. That's my commitment. The second thing is on the equipment side that you rightly bring up. And for so many years, for so many decades, Canada's government has struggled to give the very best to our armed forces. And when we ask people to go put their lives in harm's way, it's absolutely essential that the Canadian government gives them the very best, gives them the very best tools to do their job. We see with the fighter jets that we are replacing, instead of going with our partners and our allies and getting the very top of the line, cutting edge technology, this Liberal government is replacing our 40-year-old jets from Canada with 40-year-old jets from Australia. That's not right. That's not giving our men and women the very best. Procurement has become politicized in this country, where every election cycle it's easy for an opposition party to say we're going to cancel that and use the billions of dollars to spend in other places. I want to have a procurement plan that has a long-term view, a steady renewal, so that every 5 or 6 years there's not this the sticker shock of a $5 or $6 billion investment in one area or the other. That it's a long-term plan, and I will attempt to depoliticize the process by bringing the other parties into the decision-making early, so we don't see this every 4 or 5 years pattern where it becomes fodder for an election campaign, and the end result is you've got people using bungee cords to move windshield wipers back and forth. So that's my commitment to you, and thanks once again for your service.
So we're going